right. Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. Today, we're here to show you a demonstration on the platform that we have been developing over the past year that's been funded by FTA. And we have Tim Hibbard from Passio Technologies here to present for you. Tim is the VP at Passio Technologies for Development and Innovation. And Passio Technologies is our intelligent transportation service provider for our fixed route, paratransit, and bring a ride services. So I will turn it over to Tim now to go through the demonstration.
Hello, Mr. Chairman and members of the KCATT board. Thank you for letting me speak today. So like Chad said, the history behind this project is that in 2019, Kootenai County submitted a proposal to the Federal Transit Administration and won a competitive bid for an integrated mobility innovation project. So the goal of this project from a really high view is to take all the regional transportation providers in the area and create a mesh network so that we can aggregate all of the capacity, all the vehicles, all the coverage into a single system so that citizens of the area can have a more affordable option for transportation. So my goal today is to highlight the rider experience of this project and show the direction that we're moving forward, as well as collect feedback from the group. So as you can see on my screen, I have a couple apps open. So on the right side, this is the driver app. So this is for iOS and Android. It can work on a phone or a tablet. It's free in the App Store. And this is how drivers see and perform on-demand trips for a mobility platform. On the left, we have the rider app. This is also iOS, Android, and web. Free in the App Store, just the same. And this is how riders will request, manage, and eventually pay for on-demand trips in mobility platform. So some of the things you don't see on my screen are some of the background components they're running. So we have the cache, which is Connect Auto Schedule Hierarchy. And what that does is that manages all the incoming trips and makes sure that drivers and dispatchers are notified in a timely manner so that the riders are getting feedback from the system. You know, if a dispatcher stepped out for a second, we don't want the rider to have to wait for that to get assigned. We want to be able to say, okay, the dispatcher is not responding. Let's go ahead and push this out to the drivers, see if the drivers can respond. Or maybe it's a situation where they don't even have a dispatcher. They just have operators out in the field and they're kind of, self-dispatching. We also have Paraplan and Connect ITS, which Chad briefly mentioned. So this is our dispatcher-facing scheduling software, and this provides complete control of on-demand, paratransit, ADA, non-emergency medical transportation, any sort of ride that has, kind of a fixed person, place, and time. So we manage all the vehicles, all the drivers, schedules, make sure that we have capacity, make sure that we're tracking the funding sources, as well as then do all the NTD reporting to the FTA at the end of the year and everything like that. So let's go ahead and get started. So on the right, I'm signed in as a driver for Kootenai Health. And then on the left here, I'm going to sign in as a rider. So whenever we sign in, we start off right away at the ride request screen. It already has my home address plugged in. And we are going to go to the Safeway CDA. And so you can see right away, it put in my location and my destination on the map. This kind of provides some feedback to the rider, like, hey, this is exactly where you want to go. We have some basic, distance and duration. From here, you can set all sorts of different parameters about the trip, whether or not this is a pickup time or a drop-off request. Maybe you want to be dropped off to the doctor at 9 o'clock. You can request that type of thing. You can request a return trip if need be. There's some wheelchair information, accessibility information, anything that the driver or the dispatcher might need to know. For this case, we're just going to leave it all the same, all just like it is, and request the trip. Okay, so what was going on is, so right away we got this confirmation screen that says, hey, your trip has been approved. Great, thank you. I also got an email over here on my iPad saying, thanks, we got your trip. We're gonna get it assigned. I also got an email as a dispatcher saying, hey, there's a new trip in the system that needs to be managed. You need to make sure that this person is getting responded right away. And then we also see that on here on my dispatcher app, So this guy over here, this is actually, in the vehicle. So let's say he's queued up. He can actually see that, hey, there's a new trip here that that we need to take care of. So I'm the driver. I see it. I'm going to take a look at it, make sure that I'm able to do this trip. I can see, my current location, the pickup location, the drop-off location, as well as some information about when this person wants to be picked up. So I can look and be like, okay, this person wants to be picked up 11:58. That's great. I can actually get there a little bit earlier because, I'm right here on Sherman Avenue on the way to go. So I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to do this trip. So I'm going to say assign trip to me. And you see that over here right away, it popped up that says assigned to driver. So this is, really, really quickly providing feedback to the rider that's saying like, hey, we got you, here's all the information about you. So that way the rider has confidence in the system and confidence that they're going to get to where they need to go to, because ultimately that's what they're trying to do. We even see it's kind of stuck here behind the little Google Maps man, but that's the vehicle location as well. We see that our ETA has changed, and we even have now an ETA tool for our drop-off. So now we're back here on the driver app, and we can see that this has now popped into my manifest. So I have a pickup at 11:58. So this driver app, we try and keep it really simple. So this is all the information the driver really needs to get there. If they need to see more, they can click and see more. But for now, all we're going to do is swipe and say, I've arrived at pickup. So you can see this changed my driver screen. And you can't hear it, but it also kind of dinged at me. So anytime in the driver app there's a change, we always give the driver a visual and an audio notification. That way they kind of use that cadence of like, I did something, response. And that way if there's some glitch in the system, or maybe they're in a spotty cell coverage and it didn't go through, they kind of have that like, oh, I didn't get the ding, like something's not right. Let me go back and check to see where I'm at. So we arrived at pickup, and you can see over here that we've now updated the rider as well. So it says drivers at pickup location. If the rider's not there, this is a good time for them to go out. And then we said, this is when we actually arrived. So the rider's there. That's great. So the driver can pick him up, get him onboarded. And then again, we're just going to come back here and we're just going to swipe and say, real fast, swipe and say client is on board. So again, I heard that ding. It told me that it picked up. And then back here on the rider app, it says headed to drop-off location. So that's great. Now I know I'm on board. I can see the GPS location of the vehicle, which is also my location as well because I'm on that vehicle. And I can see the way that the driver is going to get there. So let's just kind of accelerate this trip and say, yep, we've arrived at drop-off at Safeway. So great. And then it says again, drivers at drop-off location. The map is actually lying because I'm running like a GPS spoofer in the background, but that's okay. And then again, swipe and say client has been dropped off. So now going back to here, it says trip has been completed. At this point, the rider can be prompted to provide feedback or review or whatever. And then we have our actual times in here of, this is when we said we're going to pick you up. This is when we actually got you. This is where we picked you up from. This is when we dropped you off, and everything about the trip. So that's kind of a little bit of a longer go through of how this works. I want to do it again, but a little bit faster cadence, so you can kind of see the back and forth and how the two systems interact a little more in real time. So let's go back to our rider app and say new request. So we're back to our home screen, but we're not at home. We are at the library. And we want to go to the pub. And again, it put in the pickup drop-off location, expected route, give that rider some comfortable feelings like, okay, yep, this is what I had planned. This is what I expected it to look like. I can change the times. Again, I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it all the same and just request trip. So it's pretty quick. You just kind of put in the information and put request trip, and then you're good to go. So we got the confirmation screen. You see that real quickly it said we got it, and then it said approved. So we have this system set to auto approve. So any new requests that come in, they automatically get approved. A lot of dispatchers aren't going to want that. They're going to want to see the request and then approve it. But in this case, for the demo purposes, we just have them auto approving. So back over here on my driver's screen, I see the trip request again coming in. I see this new trip in the system. I can see my location, where the person is. Yep, this is great. I will do this trip. So assign trip to me. And then, back over here on the map again, or in the rider app, I should say, you can see assigned driver. And if we zoom out a little bit, we'll see that the vehicle location right there, noted by the V. But I'm a driver and I'm good. So I'm going to arrive at pickup. And then it says drivers at pickup location. Great, we got them onboarded. Swipe again, drivers on board. And then we're driving to the drop-off location. And again, I'll show you really quickly some of the details that are back here, because we can see all kinds of stuff about this individual, about the trip request, if they have any extra riders, if there's comments, if there's any payment that need to be collected, we put that all here. We can even capture the signature. We can do things like get turn-by-turn directions, see where we are, see where we're going. So we can do all that stuff right from the screen. Most drivers just stay on that front screen because that's everything they need. But if you need more information, it's right here. And then we can also do the actions. So from right here, I'm also just going to say I've arrived at drop off. So it says, okay, great, you've been dropped off. Or I'm sorry, you've arrived at drop off. You haven't actually completed the drop off yet. So now we're getting the person, helping them out of the vehicle if they need me, maybe getting them out of the wheelchair ramp or whatever. And then we say we dropped them off. And then back here on the rider screen, the rider's been notified that the trip has been completed, and then they can all see that. So I'm gonna pop over really quickly here. I gotta move myself on the way. So this is, so what I wanna show you now is this is our Passio Go app. So this is the app that the riders of City Link North use, and this shows the fixed route vehicles and the ETAs as well as where they are. You can actually see, looks like they're all at the transfer center. It looks like maybe they're getting ready to do a pulse. So when we have a system like this, it's on demand. We're really helping people do first mile, last mile, but we're also trying to help push them into the transit system, because our transit system is the most efficient way of moving people, through the area. So we want to have your riders be able to do their journey planning and to be able to see the on-demand as well as the fixed route kind of all in one area. So that's really what we're working on. I don't have that quite wired up to the same degree as the other one, but I do kind of want to show you a little bit how it's going to work. So when you're in an area like this, like Coeur d'Alene, that supports on-demand, you're going to see this little ride request guy pop up on your phone. And I should say that this is, also Android and iPhone, works on device, or works on tablet, works on phone, whatever, it's free in the App Store. So it's just a normal rider app. So I'm going to say request ride. I'm going to choose this particular service because it is available. And I'll bring this up a little bit so we can see. You just put in the pickup date, pickup time. Now is fine. I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I can select my pickup location. And we'll just go right there. And then my drop-off location will go, we'll go down here to Culver's. So I'm looking at that. Okay, that's great. Yep, that's what I want. I'm going to request it. And then, so it's going to kind of go through that same routine. Yeah, we got it. Okay, yep, it's been approved. Okay, it's been assigned. Driver's on the way. Driver's picked you up. We're getting ready to get you. We're taking you to your destination, and we've arrived. And then again, a little pop-up that says like, "Hey, how did it go? Any feedback for us?" So that shows a little bit about where we are now and where we're heading. This is ready to be rolled out to beta users today. So this is all live. I'm actually using live data, live databases, and Chad is working on getting a pool of riders to start using the system so that we can get some real world feedback out there. But I did want to take this opportunity to ask if there's any questions from the group.
Any questions?
All right, Great, Tim. We appreciate the presentation.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Chad. All right, moving on to the next item is KCATT member item.